What's good, YouTube? What's good, people in social media, man? I think today is a really big day for me because it's my first day of me really deciding to invest time into my YouTube channel. So this will be my introductory video to the YouTube community, building my own community, and basically start my journey in a way where I'm more open and basically more transparent in what's happening in my career and in my life. So for those who don't know me, my name is Quentin Rankin, aka Q, the Chosen One, aka all my kids call me Coach Q. So I've been boxing about 19 years, and I've been fighting all around the world. I fought amateur for about 5 years, and then the rest of my career I've been pro. Now, usually they tell people that you should stay amateur as long as you can, get as much experience as you can, and I would have to say I agree with that, but my circumstance was a little different because I tried to get as many amateur fights as I could, but I was always put to a halt or a standstill every time that I was trying to get fights. And I went a whole year where I didn't get a fight, but I had showed up to like 5 or 6 different fights. So the year that I didn't get any fights, I decided that I was going to do a tough man contest. Now, my plan was to always do a tough man contest, but I really wanted to win a national tournament first. So I was a 2-time Golden Gloves champ. So my goal was to win a national tournament first and then turn pro. But because I couldn't get ranked, because I couldn't get fights, you need fights to get ranked, and I'm doing it by myself. Nobody's really guiding me. Nobody's really putting me on game, teaching me boxing on the aspect of how you need to build your career and how important it is. I'm just watching people and listening to, people who have more experience than me and being pulled this way and pulled that way. And I think that ultimately I started to make my own decisions because doing it other people's way, every time I listened to other people as far as where I was at, it was always leading me down a road that I did not like. And a lot of times in boxing, you getting led by people who really don't know how to get to where you're going, but they're guessing. And when you getting led by people who are guessing, especially in North Carolina, man, it was some decent coaches in North Carolina, but where I was from, in my area, I'm from Charlotte, North Carolina. So in my area, the only coach that really was on something that, that I grew up with, which was my first coach, was Coach Leon and Coach Simpson. Now, Coach Simpson, he has been around the world. He traveled with the Olympic team. He coached the Olympic team. He didn't been all over the world, man. He got 40 years, 50 years in the game. So, but the thing about Coach Simpson is, it was hard for Coach Simpson. He wasn't really giving me my time, or he wasn't giving me any one-on-one time, because Coach Simpson had all of North Carolina. Coach Simpson was he was like that. So I would travel with Coach Simpson, but I still felt like I wasn't getting the things that I needed just on the regular. And especially past the point where, at this point, I got I just had a baby. So I got a newborn, just a few months. And, throughout that journey, I didn't really have somebody guide me as far as how to navigate a family, be an amateur, and be a successful pro. Nobody was really giving me a playbook. Nobody was giving me a playbook. I literally had to learn the playbook by trial and error. Trial and error. So, you know, I just, if he couldn't give me a fight, which that was the issue, Coach Simpson couldn't give me a fight, I would go to fights, they said I was matched, and then be like, nah, you know, they pulled out, or no, they can't, they said they're not trying to fight you, or they matched the guy that you were supposed to be up with somebody else, and it was just happening too often. It was like six or seven fights at a point where I was tired of like depending on him, you know what I'm saying? And I was tired of depending on, like, you know, other people. So I decided to sign up for a tough man contest. And when I signed up for the tough man contest, it's like, for those who don't know what a tough man contest is, a lot of people think like MMA or like some kind of boxing outside of like regular boxing, but it's just amateur boxing that with the ability to win a prize. So you have to fight 1 minute rounds, 3 1 minute rounds, and you have to do that like on multiple people. So you may have to fight 4 times to win a title. So I know I did. I had to fight 4 times to win a tough man title. And so the cool thing about the tough man is like it's 1 minute, but it's all out. You know you're gonna see knockouts. You know it's gonna be crazy, and it's gonna be action packed because it's only 1 minute. So, you know, you got people. I remember going to the tough man, and I remember it was people that was drunk. So everybody wasn't boxers. Now it was, some of these people were just ballroom fighters. They just, you know, weekend warriors type. So yeah, man, when you get in there with them guys, they coming. So you have to like knock them out early, hurt them early, establish that, you know, you're not gonna back up early. You have to be a counterpuncher. So if you're ever gonna join a tough man, you have to be a counterpuncher, a really good counterpuncher. You have to be able to hit really hard, stepping backwards, stepping away from like the wild shots, you know, or you have to be able to endure and block and create opportunity. So mine was, I was here and I would pull and counter. That's how I won most of my fights. I won all of my fights basically with the same punch. It was just a pull, counter, left hand, pull, counter, left hand. And I was knocking people out with it because they would come wild and down the middle and they head open and I'm like this and I just pull, and it was that simple. So I ran through like the tough man competitions, ran through them. I think I only went the distance one guy, and he was a boxer. He actually like was more smart. He didn't rush, but I was just too busy and too active and more athletic than him. So, but anyway, I win the tough man. And so at the time, I think I got $1,000, and I think I got a belt. So I got the light heavyweight state tough man champion belt, and then I got the $1,000 cash. So that was pretty dope. And that was my first time ever making money in boxing. So that was like an amazing feeling for me, because it's like, damn, I got $1,000 cash and I just won a belt, and it was easy work. So to me, it was like, it's a no-brainer for me. Like, this is what I want to do. Like, it's no question. I was already an undefeated amateur. That's another thing too. So I was like 6-0 or 7-0 as an amateur. I think it was 6-0. I didn't have many fights, but all my fights I had won by knockout. So I was already people knew who I was, that went to the fights because I was knocking everybody out. So because I was knocking everybody out, I had already had a reputation as an amateur. Like, as an amateur, they knew I could punch. If I couldn't do nothing else, I could punch. Now, I was more like a Deontay Wilder at that time. It wasn't a whole lot of fancy stuff. It was I had a 1-2, and I had a step back counter and an uppercut. I had a really good uppercut. And outside of that, I didn't know how to really use my check hook. I didn't know how to use my lead uppercut. It was all left hand, left uppercut, you know, 1-2, you know, very basic, but they were the punches were so solid, and I was so athletic that I would give you problems if the power was too much. Now, fast forward, I went pro after helping this dude, so I started training fighters because it's like, well, I'm the best in the area, and every gym I went to, you know, I was having some financial difficulty, so I couldn't afford the gym. So the only gym that accepted me was this gym called Contenders Boxing with Joe Mayer. And Joe Mayer basically welcomed me with open arms, man. I still got a lot of love in my heart for Joe. Joe's a little bit different, when it comes to like how he trains and how he approaches boxing, and his passion for the sport. He doesn't have the same passion for boxing as he used to, because he used to fight and then he got into coaching. And I like Joe a lot. You know what I'm saying? I like Joe a lot. I think Joe is a great place to start for beginners in boxing, because he really emphasizes the basics of boxing. I love Joe, man. Joe, I have nothing but good things to say about Joe. Joe is a little awkward, a little different. You know what I'm saying? But that's the only thing I can say. Outside of that, if you can get past that, he's like a really cool dude to chill with, really cool dude to hang with. He can definitely drink. He is more lively when he's drinking. But Joe's a cool cat. He had a little boat, a houseboat. I remember he took me to his houseboat, and we just used to chop it up, man. He used to grill all the time. He used to put on fights, Contenders Boxing. Like I said, man, I love Joe, man. I think that Joe is a good guy that has been burned by a lot of people, and he has a very big heart, but also he doesn't like to take a lot of chances with people past a certain point. So if you burn the bridge with Joe, he's not fucking with you no more. Like, he's a good guy, but yeah, Joe is like, he doesn't tend to, like some people I've seen him say, man, listen, I understand, but you can't come back to my gym no more. Like, I don't want to see you in my gym no more. And just straight up tell him that, So I think that Joe is, like I said, a really cool cat. But anyway, so he let me come to his gym. And so I didn't have no money. I didn't have no money when it came to like Joe. So Joe was like, listen, this is what I'll do. He had a carpet cleaning company at the time. He said, I'll let you work my carpet cleaning company. I'll teach you how it works. And I will pretty much let you train clients. All you got to do is do what I'm saying to do as far as the training. Do the punch count. I would do a punch count. I would count people's punches and write the numbers. And, I would basically help clean the gym up, make sure people was doing what they needed to do, and he would let me train for free. You know what I mean? So he actually introduced me to personal training. He actually introduced me to training clients or training people as a business, because I didn't even think that, I was just helpful. I didn't think to make it a business to be a personal trainer or be a boxing coach. I never thought that was a business. And when I came to Joe, I just thought he was a coach. But it's a business. Boxing is a business. And so I didn't look at it like that. It was my life. Boxing was literally my life. I only knew boxing. Boxing was like, I lived, I ate, I slept, boxing. So to look at it differently, like it's a business, like damn, so I can make this amount of money for this. And so the cool thing about Joe, this is what I loved about Joe. And when I get to a point, I want to do the same thing that Joe did. So what Joe did is, if you owed him, this is what he did for me. If you owed Joe would give you a certain amount of clients to work off what you owe him, and anything that you earned past that point, Joe would literally pay you. So Joe ended up paying me. I was working for him and I was making money, and I was just getting up training. I like whatever he needed though, I would do it. So if he was working on a project outside, or if he was working on the roof, or whatever he needed, I was pretty much there if he needed it. And so It was a win-win for both of us. You know what I'm saying? He had somebody helpful, and he was helping me. So I got to be in the gym, and I started training fighters. And my first manager came out of Contenders Boxing. This guy named John. So John was cool. You know what I'm saying? John was cool, but John was a businessman. John, I helped his son, and then when I helped his son, and then he seen how I fought, he believed in me. He invested in me, and the first time I ever traveled to California was on the back of John. John wanted to be my manager, so he asked me would I want to go to the Wild Card in California and would I want to train in Freddie Roach's gym. And I'm from the hood. I ain't never even really flew like past where I've been. I think I went to New York one time, so I never even been on a plane but one time before that. And so I was like, I ain't have nothing to do. I ain't have no job. I ain't have nothing going on besides working at the gym with Joe at the time. So of course I was going. So he bought me a hostel. So this is the first time I ever stayed in a hostel. So for those who don't know what a hostel is like it's like a hotel, but it's smaller. It's like what's a good way? It's like a shopping mall. That's what it kind of reminds me of. A small business shopping mall, but you got shared bathrooms, and then you have a bed and a TV. You don't have a lot of room in the hostel, especially the one I stayed in. So it's really bed. You got a what do you call that? A refrigerator, and that's it. And maybe like a dresser, and that's it. And so I stayed in that hostel for, he flew me out for 3 months. I think it was 3 months I stayed out there. And so in those months, it was like 2.5 months. But for those months, all I did was go to the gym and train. Go to the gym, train. Go to the gym, train. Go to the gym, train. That's all I did. And so I was around so many people. I was around so many champions. It's not like they were training me, but I was just in the gym. So I was always in the gym. So I seen Manny Pacquiao. I seen Amir Khan. I seen Peter Quillen, Kid Chocolate. It was a lot of Russians that would come and a lot of foreign people that would come in and out. I don't remember their names because at the time I wasn't really in the sport, like knowing who was who. And these people were from all over the world because it was the Wild Card. So these people were from all over. So I remember just running into fighters, sparring whoever. And I remember the first time I met Pacquiao, I basically was in the gym. I was tying my shoe. And they was like, if you are not a pro, you have to leave. We about to lock the gym down. I was a pro. Well, I wasn't officially a pro, but I had won a Tough Man, so I wasn't amateur. I was like, about to make my debut, so it didn't really matter. They knew that my manager had flew me out and I was there, so they wasn't kicking me out. But anyway, so I'm tying my shoe. I'm about to go do my thing, and somebody gets in the ring. I hear them get in the ring, and they kind of got in like here. I'm tying my shoe like this, and they kind of go behind me as I'm tying my shoe like that. And I turn around, and I see their feet, right? And then I see their calf muscles. And this dude, calf muscles was like the size of my head. You know what I'm saying? So I'm thinking this is going to be a heavyweight. Now, this is me looking from the bottom rope up. So I'm just tying my shoe, so I can't really see their whole body. It was like a movie. I was looking from the feet up. I look up, and the body is small, though. And it's Manny Pacquiao. It's Manny Pacquiao, y'all. I'm telling you. I'm saying this man had the biggest calf muscles I ever seen in my life for such a small man. Because he wasn't big, but he looked so much bigger. Like, his calves are much bigger than, like, they look on TV. If you, like, look at Manny's legs, his legs are freaking humongous. Like his calf muscles, stupid big. But anyway, so it's Manny Pacquiao. He's shadow boxing. He moving. You know what I'm saying? And at the time, Manny was working with Floyd. I mean, not Floyd, but Freddie. And it was another guy that was working with Manny too. But I don't know who that dude was. But I only knew Freddie Roach. But Manny would come in and he was shadow boxing. He was moving around, and so it's a couple rings in the wild card. So we just moved to the other side. So it's another ring on the other side. So I just went to the other side while they was training, and you know, I just shadow boxing. I'm doing my thing, but I'm watching the whole time, and I'm just watching him train and watching what he do, and you know. It was pretty cool at first to see Manny Pacquiao for the first time. Now it's crazy because the first time I seen Manny Pacquiao, he wasn't paying me no attention. He was just doing his own thing. So I had admired Manny Pacquiao when I first seen him. You know, I only seen him on TV, so I never met him in real life until this time. So I didn't really get a chance to say anything to him the very first time I met him. But the second time I met him, I was going in the bathroom and he was coming out the bathroom, and I looked at him and I was actually really happy to see him. I wanted to say, Manny, what's up, champ? But it was the way he was looking at me. He like looked like he was upset, and when he looked at me, he kind of looked at me like, fuck out my way, you know, or excuse me, he's like, F out my way, kind of like, You know what I'm saying? So when he looked at me like that, I completely looked at him different. I never looked at Manny Pacquiao the same. I stopped rooting for him. I never like cared for him like that, because to me, you know, the energy that you give off, you know, it like you can give off a certain, and listen, anybody can have a good day or a bad day. He may be a good guy, but when he looked at me, I didn't see good. You know what I'm saying? So he could be different, but my experience of him was not good. It was the way he looked at me, and I looked at him more like, now you a threat. Like, now, man, I whoop you, boy. Like, you was too small, you was not ready. Like, so it changed from like admiring him to like, boy, I'll whoop you. And I don't know whether maybe that's how he felt, because I wasn't really looking at him like a threat. I'm looking at him like, bro, you're a champ. You this, you that. But I noticed that that's the air of a lot of fighters. The air of a lot of fighters is they are very ego driven. So they carry their ego a lot. And so you can't necessarily take a fighter, you know, you can't necessarily make a real assessment on how cool a fighter is based off a bad interaction with them. And I know that because I'm a fighter. But forget Manny Pacquiao. I don't like that. We in the gym. I seen you speak to other people. You just chose to speak to me and engage with me in the way you did. So I don't like him. I don't care for him. You know what I'm saying? And Floyd and Manny is actually about to fight. And I see them robbing Floyd and making it a Pacquiao Floyd 3. So I see Floyd beating Manny twice. And then I see them robbing Floyd and giving it to Pacquiao, and then they making another fight, and it's going to be even bigger. It's going to be an entertaining fight. But anyway, so yeah, I did that. I fought I trained at the wild card. I sparred Peter Quillen. I sparred I forgot that the big African dude name is like Coyote something. He was a big guy, and some Russian guy. I just was sparring whoever they put in front of me. So anyway, so now I was there 3 months. They fly me back, and I'm now about to make my debut. My debut, crazy. I had the craziest debut. Like, my debut, it was nothing but, it was God sent, because it was incredible. First of all, my debut was, it was at the Charlotte Convention Center, and my debut was, Kenny Letts was the promoter for my debut at the Charlotte Convention Center. And it was just a crazy debut, because that venue, it wasn't nothing like my next 5 fights after that. That venue was by far the biggest venue I had fought at as an amateur, or even as doing the tough man. So that by far my debut was like lit. But the crazy thing about my debut is Fantasia, right after I won in my debut, Fantasia like performed. So it was crazy. But when I first seen the dude, he was making his debut, so it was 2 debuts. So the promoter was talking to everybody after the weigh-in, and he was saying like, yeah, so listen, all my fighters, I want y'all to put on a good show because there's going to be a knockout bonus. So whoever wins this fight, they get a knockout bonus if you win by knockout. And my opponent, with no hesitation, with no stutter, nothing, he said, oh yeah, I'm finna get that knockout bonus. And I was looking like, you fighting me? I don't know what you mean you finna get that knockout bonus. That was crazy. To me, that was the most disturbing thing I had ever heard in my life at that time, because I had won a tough man and I had won all my amateur fights. So I'm undefeated even to this point. Even though we 0-0, I've never lost. So I didn't know what that even felt like. So I just didn't believe that he said that. It's like, this dude don't know who I am. It's funny how boxers expect everybody to know who they is, but he don't know me, I don't know him, and the fight was crazy. So anyway, fast forward to the fight. Ding, ding, ding. The dude comes out hot. He come out hot. He's not trying for a boxing lesson or fill out round. He come out hot. And I'm like, oh, snap. He come out hot. Boom, boom, boom. So for the first 30 seconds, I was just blocking. Boom, 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 boom. Blocking, boom, boom. I'm moving, boom, boom, boom. And he slowed down, and I hit him to the body. Boom! As soon as I hit him to the body, he went, ooh. After that, it was over. I think I knocked him out like in a minute, because it was 30 seconds of him going in, and the next 30, I knocked him out. Clean out, too. And it was like, I only hit him with like 10 punches, and it was over. I mean, he was asleep. And on my Facebook, if you look to my very first Facebook picture, is me flexing like this, which was my debut. Right as I knocked him out, and they announced me as the winner. And I said, I need my knockout bonus. Right after that, Fantasia. So I'm going back to the locker room, and my victory music was Fantasia. What was the song? Was it? I can't remember the song. It was crazy. I can't even remember the song, but I know she was hot at the time. I think she had just won Idol maybe like a year before that, or maybe a few months before that. So it was just a crazy experience. It was just 100% crazy. It was the most divine experience, man. At that time, it was just huge. So yeah, man, I won my debut. I was 1-0, and you know, it was on from there. But listen, boxing pretty much changed my life, because without those experiences, and you know, I had a lot of downs in that time. Like I messed my hand up in that time. I messed my shoulder up in that time. This is before debut. I had a knee injury at that time. I was diagnosed with hypertension. They told me I needed to not box anymore. They was like, you trying to fight for an amateur fight, you need to be worried about not fighting again. Then not having a heart attack. And this is as an amateur. Then another thing, right before my pro debut, I had holes in my retinal. So I was born with like micro holes. I don't know why, but it was like degenerate holes in my retinal. So I could see everything was good, but the doctor said that I needed to get LASIK around to make sure that if I ever got hit, that I wouldn't get a torn retinal or detached retinal. So that, I almost didn't even have a pro debut, but I just believed that I was just going to win. I just believed I was just going to fight. I believed that this was my destiny. I believed it. So I had doctors tell me I shouldn't do it. As a matter of fact, I think one of my family members, I don't know who it said, but they was like, don't get knocked out. It was like, damn, that's how you think motivating a person, that's what you think you're supposed to say? But it changed my life, because I got to see the world. I got to see things that I never thought I would see. And, you know, based off how I grew up, I mean, I done been to camp with Andre Ward. I done been to camp with Peter Quillen. I done been to camp with Andre Durrell. I done been to camp with Jake Paul. I done been to camp with Better Beef. I've been to camp with Thomas Williams Jr. I've been to camp with Zerto Ramirez. I've been to camp, man, I've been to the UK. I forgot the guy that he was getting ready for Booby. He was getting ready for Andre, what's his name? Andre, I forgot his name, but yeah, they call him Booby. And man, I done sparred with so many people, man, so many champions. And yeah, I done fought Dave Morrell. I fought Chad Dawson. You know, I got so much world-wide experience, like a lot more than a lot of people who've been boxing for the same time, or even with people who have boxed. I've been around the world, man. So listen, this is my journey. This is my YouTube journey. This is the beginning of something beautiful. And so I know that I'm gonna build this community because I'm gonna give y'all tips. I'm gonna tell you some of the things that I ran into, some of the things if you're trying to be a pro boxer, like what to do and what not to do, do's and don'ts. I'm bringing, you know, some funny challenges. I'm gonna be doing challenges that they got. You know, maybe it's a challenge that I want to see. Creating my own challenges, overcoming real life challenges. Like my last fight, I got food poisoning. I fought for an NABA title. And my last fight, I got like food poisoning and I was dehydrated. And I didn't want to make excuses. I did not want to make excuses about, like, you know, why I didn't or I couldn't perform, or why I was like smacking my arm or shaking it out. It was a lot of different things. If you've seen that fight, you know that something was off with me. I couldn't make an excuse because I already signed the contract, you know. But yeah, I'm gonna have just a lot of different things. So make sure you follow me, make sure you subscribe, make sure you stay locked in. This is my YouTube introduction. My YouTube not necessarily like my debut, because I've done YouTube videos before, but this is like my introduction to like actually locking in and being disciplined and doing the work. So y'all get to see it from scratch, man. So like, share, subscribe if you're a boxing fan, if you like boxing tips, if you want to get like connected with me, if you're in the Charlotte area and you want to like learn from me, stay locked in. And listen, man, I'll see y'all next time, man. Like, share, subscribe.